Grab your thirst for adventure and get ready. This is the Lady Overlander Radio podcast, where we ditch the pavement and embrace the wild. Each week, your hosts, Misty and Arla, bring you stories of inspiration from around the globe. Join us live Thursday evenings on Facebook and YouTube, or catch the audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms. The Lady Overlander Radio podcast is presented by Midwest Adventure Outfitters and Mamoo's Camp Kitchen. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Welcome to the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Lady Overlander Radio podcast. I'm Misty Tokarski from Lady Overlander Radio. Tonight we're being joined by John Berkmeyer of Sunshine State Adventure Company, Joe, my husband from The Day We Make, and Bill and Deb from Coddiwomple Overland.
How you guys doing tonight?
So we got some comments already here on the show. Let's see what we got here. Hello, Oh No Adventures. Crash Ed. Jeff Johnson. Derek Wilkes. And yes, setting up live can be a pain and can take a few minutes. We had to figure out the audio situation. So thank you guys for joining, and thank you for being patient with us. We're sorry it took a few minutes, but we wanted to have this show and discuss the Southern Florida Adventure Trail we just completed yesterday.
Yep.
And we started it.
We started it Monday.
Yeah, you guys started it Monday. You did the first day without us.
Right.
Because we had some kid stuff to wrap up. And then we met up with you the second day. And you guys did how many miles the first day? Do you remember?
So the first day, I think we did 150. Yeah, about 150, 170 miles the first day.
Okay. And then we joined up with you guys in Hickory Hammock Campground.
It's a great spot.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of we did some of the campsites that you had marked on there, John, and some of the stops we had picked a few that Joe and I had stayed at before just to see.
Well, I need to add them.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have got, that's been one of the cool things about the SOFAT, and even the Panhandle route is like, as people have run, the trail, they're like, hey, did you know about this campsite? I'm like, no, if you feel good about us adding it, we'll add it. So I'll send somebody out to go check it out. And I mean, you guys are my South Florida experts. You guys are from down in that neck of the woods. I know, Joe, you were giving me the rundown like, oh, in this spot. And so, if you guys have some suggestions that you don't mind sharing, we'll add it on there. And I'm glad you guys got to experience some of that stuff.
Yeah. And Craig G just made a comment. Hello, was just watching your SOFAT video about halfway through it. They're referring to Bill and Deb. They just put out their first video, their first part of it this morning.
Yep.
And that covered up until we started heading down to the Keys.
Yeah,
right?
it covered up until we made it to Long Pine. And the next episode will kick off going on down into the Keys. But, just like the Florida Adventure Trail, this is a neat look into rural Florida, southern rural Florida. If you're looking for the beaches, this is not necessarily the trip for you. But if you're looking, just like John told me before we started with this, if you're looking for real Florida, then I'm going to take you through real Florida. And what an adventure it was. We loved it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, we loved being able to share doing this trail with Bill and Deb, and just being able to take them to some of the spots. Like I'd say one of our favorite spots was Robert is Here fruit stand.
Yep.
Down in Florida City.
Yeah.
And it's not even maybe half mile off trail, maybe a mile.
Yeah, it's really close.
And it's just been there for so long. The milkshakes were great.
Oh, yeah.
They have all kinds of produce and tropical fruits. They have animals like emus and goats.
Yeah.
Just tractors, and it's a really neat place to stop.
So that's speaking of the animals, that's one of the coolest things that we found while we were here. is you get to see animals that you don't typically get to see in other parts of the United States. So, John told us, he promised me we would see alligators, and he promised me we would see iguanas, and we did see both. We've seen a multitude of alligators on several different roads. It was crazy. First time we had really ever seen alligators out, other than a zoo or something like that. So,
oh, really? That was your first time? Even on the FAT, you didn't see any alligators?
No, we did the FAT in January and March.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were all sitting down on the bottom. Yeah, they were all praying for summer to show up. They were all down in the muck on the bottom. Yeah, that's
so
funny.
were we. When we did the FAT, we went to Florida thinking it was warm and had to buy long johns while we were down here.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Florida long johns are not equal to Kentucky long johns.
Oh, I know that's true. Yeah, I believe that.
Florida.
Yes.
We that's one of my favorite kind of things just about the SOFAT is, it is so different even than the Florida Adventure Trail, right? Like even the farther you go down to the end of Florida, Florida's so like ecologically diverse that I don't think people really realize that. They just assume it's all the tropics, or they assume it's all the swamps or whatever. And it's all of it. It's all of it in different places. And so the fact that you guys got to see some iguanas and all the other, alligators, obviously that's super cool. And, depending upon the time of the year and where you're at, we have a huge invasive python issue now down in South Florida. So you guys probably didn't get to see any pythons out in the wild, but if you stopped at the skunk ape, did you guys go to the skunk ape museum on your way?
We
okay.
did not make it to the skunk ape museum.
Yeah.
We passed by it, but we didn't go.
Yeah. The skunk ape museum seems kind of tourist trappy, and it kind of is, but it's such a cool place to stop. They have the world record python that was found in captivity, and found in the wild. Now it's in captivity. It's 14 feet long and weighs 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
Oh,
and it's just it's the first time I saw it, I was like, there's no way that thing's real. And I think the second I said it, its eye like opened up and looked at me. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a big dude, but I'm pretty sure that thing right there could eat me for sure. So yeah.
You bring up a good point. There are a lot of little tourist trappy places along the way, but it's not like Central Florida or the beaches.
No, it's not like Disney. Yeah.
Disney or Miami Beach or anything crazy like that. It's the little mom and pop, airboat rides and alligator farms and the smallest post office and things like that you don't really get to see in the rest of the state anymore. So it's nice to be able to kind of take a step back in time. That's one of my favorite parts about especially the area that we started off on through the Everglades and Big Cypress.
Last year we did a good section of Route 66. We did it from Arizona through New Mexico, Texas, and kind of jump back off of it in Oklahoma. And really what the little touristy things that we've seen in Southern Florida reminded me a lot of the old era Route 66 stuff that, is just not around anymore for most of America. It was really cool to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you guys have heard me say this before, like my heartbeat behind the FAT, the SOFAT, and even the partnership agreement and the purchase of the Panhandle Adventure Trail from V-Man 1313 Adventures. All three of those routes now are a part of our ecosystem, and I really it's 3,000 miles of trail and routes and points of interest and all of that, and we're constantly adding to it. And I really obviously I want people to find adventure in their own backyard. That's like our tagline. But I really see these routes as a rural revitalization project.
Yes.
And not in the way that developers would like to revitalize the areas. But Route 66 is such a great, a sad, but a great example of what happens when you divert traffic away from rural America.
Yep.
It's really sad to me to see this incredible long stretch of historic road and Americana in our country that just, it doesn't exist anymore. Like it's all ghost towns, and it's just that stuff is just gone. And so if that happened in Florida, my heart would break, you know? And
That's
so
what I really liked about that stretch through the Redlands, because in the Redlands, I grew up on the eastern side of Homestead, more towards where the turnpike is now.
Yep.
And even when I was growing up there, it looked pretty much exactly like the Redlands. I mean, I had farms right across the street from my house.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat that it goes out that way, because it takes you away from all the developed part of South Florida and brings you back, circling back to the conversation we were just having, it brings you back to the way that area used to look like 30, 40 years ago.
Totally. And even some of the areas that you came through when you guys were, you guys may have skipped that part. But when you guys came through Frostproof, you went through all the orange groves.
Yes.
And, you know, that's such a huge part of Florida history and such a huge part of the industry here in Florida, but it's a part that continues to be less and less profitable, and the land is becoming more and more profitable as urban sprawl happens. And if you watch my my video from our final proofing trip that we did, we didn't catch it fully on camera, but there was like this, and I'm not even trying to like hyper like react to it, but there was like this borderline emotional moment for me when I'm like, wait, where are we for a second? And I thought we'd made a wrong turn because we were in a neighborhood. Yeah. And it's because 9 months earlier when I ran that section, it was orange groves.
Yeah.
And here we are, we take this right and we pop into, you know, a DR Horton or whatever the development neighborhood is. So we literally come out of orange groves, make this right, and we're in basically almost accidentally in somebody's backyard in this like high five your neighborhood, you know. And I'm like, golly, this was orange groves 9 months ago. And now it's fully developed homes with front yards and everything. And so, you know, I just like you bring up Homestead, that farming area, you know, like there's a bunch of friction going on right now between like the farmers that are trying to hold on to that way of life. And, but also it's really tempting, and I don't blame them, especially if your kids aren't interested in farming. And it's not like we're seeing a lot of that in Florida where like the generations down just aren't interested in holding on to the land. And so they're selling it to developers. And so I'm really proud of, and I'm so glad you brought up that Homestead section there, because like when people find out that there's cool dirt roads that are cutting through all those little farms and stuff, like my hope is that you start getting farmers going, where are these vehicles coming from? And they start selling stuff, you know, like how cool, like there's another, some South Florida guys, they were joking. They're like, dude, the locals are going to start selling stuff on this route. They're going to start like putting out produce and stuff. And like, I hope that happens. Like, I hope that it creates this little cottage industry that maybe makes it worth these farms staying put, you know, or like we saw up in the Panhandle, little side of the road gas stations or small restaurants staying open because we've increased their profit by that much, you know, but it's just enough to keep them hanging on and doing the thing. So I'm glad you guys got to experience that.
Yeah, and I want to touch a little bit on Dixie County. I know that's not part of the SOFAT.
No, it's okay.
You know, Dixie County, when we stayed at Shired Island and we went through that area, they were super excited to share our posts and share that content because they're trying so hard to bring tourism into that area. And then they got hit really hard. And now they're trying to rebuild all of that. So, you know, I know you're working on some things behind the scenes, trying to help them get their footing back after the hurricanes. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I'll talk about as much as I can. I think like, you know, one of the hard things about Florida is that we get hit with these hurricanes. And when that happens, you have people who, I mean, we've experienced this a ton over in Cedar Key, which is really close to, you know, that Shired Island kind of area. And one of the things that we do with Sunshine State Adventure Co. and with my church, it's kind of this cool time where we get to like work together. My business and my church get to work together, but we do hurricane disaster response stuff. We get like mobilize a bunch of people and show up and bring 26-foot trailers of supplies in, and you can do this amazing stuff. And, but you know, just the devastation of that happening again and again, like people get dropped by their insurance providers, and their homes totally gone and they can't rebuild, and they're waiting on FEMA money and just all of that.
Yeah.
And so, that the West Coast is just getting decimated all the time. And so Dixie County is no different. Shired Island is no different. Shired Island was the last place in Florida where you could go and disperse camp on the beach. And it was not without its complications, as we've all talked about before. But again, it's like, dang, man, like you used to be able to camp on the beach and over by Amelia Island. And that was like a thing you could totally do.
Yeah.
And it was epic. It was such a cool place. And, you get enough condo owners that'll show up at a town hall meeting, and all it takes is the stroke of a pen and that access is gone. And so, with Shired Island, they've been waiting for quite some time now to be able to get the funding that they need to get that reopened. And it's so desolate. It's so out of the way that it's also almost impossible for them to police isn't the right word, but to protect and keep an eye on. And so unfortunately, in out of state, I actually just found out that the original story I was told about locals going in there and tearing it up with side-by-sides, it wasn't locals. It was actually some out-of-state people that, I don't know, heard through the grapevine or whatever, but took side-by-sides. They weren't connected to anything we were doing with the FAT, but they had their side-by-sides out and they tore up the beach. And so not only now do they have to fix these sand dunes, and that's a whole mitigation erosion process that has to be in conjunction with scientists and stuff like that.
Right.
They also, everything about that campsite is gone. So so we're working really diligently to try to help with some of that. It's just slow, right? Like rural Florida, rural anywhere is going to be slow. And the funding is hard to get. But we're working on some of that. I'm really hopeful that we can get Shired Island opened again. But Dixie County is a great example of a small rural county that really loves overlanding and believes in that, like as a cottage industry or like a way to bring income into their area. And I've even had some conversations with them about what it would look like to help them open up like an overlander only, like not RVs, not like tent camping necessarily, but like what would it look like to open up a campsite owned by the county for adventure travelers like us, something that really kind of more fits the type of campsite that we get excited about when we find, So there's more and more people that are becoming aware of this and are getting excited about it. And the same thing is true with hip camps. People that are like, maybe I could not sell this property that I own along the FAT or the SOFAT and turn this into a hip camp for people that are on the adventure trail and see that as a potential way to maybe hold on to their land a little bit longer. Even farmers are getting tax breaks now for ecotourism. And so if you can add a hip camp to your farm, there's tax breaks and some tax incentives that go with ecotourism. So there's a lot that we bring to the table that I think adds a ton of value.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to take a second here to hit on some of these comments we have. Craig says, my in-laws live in Palm Coast, Florida, and I have done some riding motorcycle around the mid-Florida rural area on 2 wheels. It definitely breaks the stereotype of what you think when you think of Florida. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, Craig.
Hello, Julian. Hip camps. Yep, absolutely. Yes, love that you are making it about the small towns and helping them. And it's so important because, you touched on a really good topic there when you said, we talk about all the development of Florida, right? All these big developers coming in. And, I know a few months ago, we were all up at arms because they were trying to put golf courses in our state parks and things like that. But we don't get that passionate and that angry about local people or visitors that come in with their side-by-sides or whatever they're driving and just trash a place or leave their garbage at a campsite. They're both equally as bad as coming in, being a big developer coming in, closing it off for people, or you're just going in there and you're destroying things and then they close it off because they can't manage it or can't afford to fix it. Yep. I just wish there was more passion and more done about the people that are just going in and tearing up campsites and tearing up public lands.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, I actually read a sociology book a few years ago. It was talking about how humans are much better at mitigation or like adaptation as opposed to behavior change. And so one of the things that I've just kind of personally decided within Sunshine State and how we're operating is like, I just realize that idiots are going to do what idiots are going to do. And sometimes it's ignorance. People just don't know, like, oh, I didn't know that I should follow the tread lightly principles or whatever. And then there's just people throwing their twisted tea cans out the window as they drive through, Apalachicola. I literally don't understand that. I don't like, who was your mother? Who told you it was okay to do that? No one's here to clean up after you. And so I think like our focus has been on, I think there's some great organizations out there that are trying to do like Tread Lightly, that are trying to educate people on best practices. And then, we've just decided like, we're not going to be able to change anybody, but we can at least put some stuff in place to help make up for the idiots. Yeah. And so, like, that's why we do the 2-bag challenge thing with all of our routes. We challenge people to bring a bag for their trash and a bag for other people's trash. And you can say, it's not my responsibility to pick up after somebody. And you are absolutely right. However, when that place gets shut down, you're going to wish you'd picked up some trash after some people, And so
100%.
That's just my take on it, is like, it's definitely a problem. And we see some of that stuff. And a lot of times it is just locals that they're like, man, me and my granddaddy grew up out here goofing around. The problem is what used to be goofing around is now seen as like ecological damage to an ecosystem. And now there's gates up, and right. So like, it just is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got a few more comments coming in here. Let's see here. Billy says, hello from Tampa, hoping to hit some fat trails this year.
Awesome.
I just met Billy at the Save Expo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. North or south, you're going to like them all.
Yeah. We talked to Billy earlier, and we talked about how the SOFAT was a little different than the rest of the FAT, because it's not as much, going through mud and worrying about that kind of stuff. It's just a more relaxed kind of scenic ride. It's just, really chill, and you get to see some really cool stuff along the way.
Yeah.
We got Joe and Teddy.
Hey,
Teddy
guys.
JoJo.
Good to see you.
Hey, guys. Derek says, in Big Cypress, they really should open it up to easier entry. Pink Jeep is a beautiful place to stay, but the stress of getting inspected is a bit much. Yeah, there's a lot of, you have to get a permit and all this other stuff to be able to go out on some of those trails.
Right.
Yeah, we actually looked at camping there, and by the time we looked at it and just the time frame, we ended up bypassing it and moving on south.
Yeah.
We ended up staying at Bear Island.
Yeah, I was gonna say we wound up in a pretty good spot.
Yeah,
so.
and that's not a bad spot either. So it was
the Pink Jeep. We
very
couldn't
cool.
take Aspen either.
Right.
Yeah,
The
you
dog
couldn't
rules.
bring dogs.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Serena. Hey, girl. Yes, Misty, how can we get them to stop trashing our natural places? Girl, I wish I knew. I mean,
somebody
really
who
just
figures it out is going to be a multimillionaire.
we're just gonna have to, police it ourselves, and like he said, bring 2 bags, one for our stuff and one for other people's, because what I worry about with making these trails and these routes and passing out campsites, I'm not a gatekeeper like that. I'm not saying that, but I worry that the wrong people are going to come out there and ruin it for the rest of us, just like every other place that's gotten really popular,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I just, please, I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, but please get out there and like tell people to stop it.
Yeah, it's education. With our history and going back through building trails and trail systems and doing evaluations of different trail systems, here's what we found. If people picked up after themselves and led by a good example, then other people that came in, if they seen a clean area, they would keep the area clean. But if they rolled in and seen beer cans and trash and stuff laying everywhere, then I guess they thought that it was the acceptable thing to do. And it just seemed like that trash bred more trash.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Just be good stewards of the area, be good stewards of the community and of our activity. And hopefully we can educate new people that are coming in to do that.
Absolutely. Hey, old man, old truck.
You
Hey,
never
Phil.
you never tattle on yourself, old man.
Better late than never, my friend.
That's right. How do you think the overlanding community can help mitigate the trashing like you have talked about? Well, like Bill just said, it's a good start. Really just setting the example. Making sure that when you're going out and especially if you're a content creator, right, and you're going out and you're YouTubing the area, make sure that you touch on those kind of points in your videos, because you have thousands of people that are your audience, and talk about the way that you clean up. Like when we travel we're traveling with our kids, we would always challenge them every campsite we got to find a little bit of trash just wherever they could and put it in a trash bag, and we would take it with us. Just doing things like that, where you're showing by example on your channels and on your social media posts that you're being good stewards as well, I think is a good start. So let's see. Same with Bear Island.
We loved Bear Island.
Yeah,
That was a really cool place.
People do not need education. They need retraining. They need their mamas to come and talk to them, I'm sure.
I guess so.
You gotta.
Hey, guys.
Shout out.
All right. Bill, was there any issues in the SOFAT with pulling your trailer?
So, no, there wasn't. There wasn't any problems at all pulling the Teton. We had a great time with it. There's very few places that we found that if that Gladiator will go, then we can get a trailer behind it.
Yeah. Some of that's just having an awesome trailer, though, Bill. Some of that is, I mean, that helps. yeah.
To be able to have the trailer built like this one that's behind us to pull is an incredible opportunity in itself. But yeah, there's very few places I would hesitate pulling this trailer, even on the fat. It gets a little narrow up there, but I don't think that there's anything too tight that I would hesitate to pull a trailer on.
Yeah, we actually just, after last year's Save Expo, Matt and Kaylee from Rome 4 Low out of Georgia, they took a group on the fat with the goal of hitting all of the hard lines. Like they did all the hard stuff, all the craziest trails on the fat. And they had 4 people that showed up, 2 people that showed up unbeknownst to them, towing trailers. And they were like, oh, crap, this might be interesting. And they hit every hard line. And there's some gnarly stuff. So the trailer stuff has really come a long way. Obviously, like the trailer that you guys have is like just the suspension and all that stuff's just unbelievable. But it's really crazy where people are taking these trailers these days. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it is really cool to see. And, this trailer's a little bit big, but coming up real soon, there's going to be a skinny version of this one. So be looking out for the Appalachian X. It's going to be made just for these tighter trails.
That'll be sweet. Now, a skinny trailer doesn't belong on the fat, though.
Well,
only fat trailers.
Not some more. You can be skinny fat.
They balance each other out.
There you go. That's what it is. Yeah, it's like half and half tea. It's just it balances it out.
Yeah. It's like getting the Happy Meal with the Diet Coke.
Yes, that's right. That makes sense to me. Yeah.
All right. Hey, Bats Off Road.
Hey, how you doing?
I picked up 2 extra bags of trash a couple weeks ago. Good job, Tony. Good job.
That's awesome.
The new Hemi powertrain helps too.
Yes,
it helps.
It most certainly does.
I tell you what, I saw him in traffic many a times launching that Hemi.
Yeah, you don't.
It sounds good, man.
It does.
It sounds great.
It sounds good.
Let's see here.
We were actually, speaking of that real quick, we were talking about the old commercials they used to have with the little kid that would say Hemi. And
yep. Oh, yeah.
Bill brought up one. Does that have a Hemi in it?
The old country boy that pulled up, rolled his window down and said, that thing got a Hemi?
That's awesome.
Stepping on the pedal in your last video.
Yeah.
More engine noises, more of that.
Engine. Yeah.
I can do that.
More engine ASMR.
Right.
That's what you need to bring to it.
Yeah.
Hi, Christopher. Let's see what we got. Oh, they're moving so fast. I'm starting to click on them. Good to know on the trailer. I'd love to get our Opus out more. Worried about needing to turn it around or getting stuck with it.
So the cool thing about being able to turn around is if they have the dual jockey wheel, and I think a lot of the Opus ones do, that helps a whole lot in being able to turn that around. The other option, and it's one of the things that we've kind of kicked around doing on the show or on the channel, is doing a little bit of, if I get myself in a bind with a trailer, how do I get out of it? And showing maybe some different change of directions with the winch and winch techniques to be able to turn a trailer around, even if you're there by yourself. So if that's something you guys might like to see, let us know, and we could certainly try to jump onto that.
Absolutely. Hey, Jesse, I don't know about being early. All right. Bill, who is enjoying the Hemi more, you or Deb?
I don't know, Deb.
It's pretty nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's been having more fun with it.
I have a lot of fun with it, but every time you hit that loud pedal, she grins. So.
Oh, yeah.
He just does it to impress the ladies.
Yeah,
That's right.
it.
The lady.
The lady. I hear it in your videos. Yep.
It does sound really good.
Sure does. Trailer's great for when you are stopped, not that great when you get in a tight spot. No, I mean, sometimes, but I don't know. Like, there was very few times when we had our trailer that we ever got into a situation where, I mean, at times, you can get in situations where you're on a shelf road or things like that, but it's very rare.
Nothing's perfect all the time.
That's
No.
true.
Oh, yeah.
Loss for everything. So
That's a good point.
That's how I would sum it up.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect all the time.
I agree totally with that.
Yep, that's a good way of thinking about it.
The trailer training course would be amazing for one of these next shows.
I agree.
Yeah,
That would be
That'd be a cool seminar for you to do there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You won't get stuck. Just be cautious.
Yeah.
Nobody shows what happens when you're on a one-way trail that's impassable and how you get the truck back to the other side when it's a single lane only.
That's when it's a lot of backing up.
If you go to the Trans-American Trail video, it was just barely a lane wide. It was dark. It was the North Carolina one, right?
I turned it around.
Deb actually, she turned it around before I could get out of the truck, but I had unhooked from it, and she turned this trailer around
in the middle of
by herself
on a dirt
road, and she parked one tire in the ditch, and I was able to drive around it. We didn't show all of that because we were both kind of doing something, and we are our own film crew, but it definitely can be done. Or there are times, I'm not going to say you can do that every time. I just won't tell you that, but there are times, just like you said, John, that I have had to back up quite a ways. Mm-hmm. So you got to be pretty proficient at driving with your mirrors.
Yep.
Yeah, whether you're towing a trailer or not, sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking backing up.
Oh, man. Yep. You'll appreciate this, especially you guys from my Kentucky friends. We were doing the Kentucky Adventure Trail years ago, and we were on hard. I think we're on hard 4 or 3. I can't remember which one. And we didn't know that there had been some huge flood that had just happened. And so we're going down this real narrow little goat trail, I think it was hard 3. And the trail was totally washed away on the other side.
Yep.
And I'm like, dang it. It was like, we're almost to camp. It was this whole thing. And there was like 8 rigs with me. We had to go in reverse for it felt like 600 yards probably before we could get to a place where everybody could do the million point turnaround. And one of our guys on our trip does not know his left from his right and almost drove off the side of a mountain. And I'm talking to you, John Kenny, if you're watching this video. And
I'm not calling you out or anything.
I literally was like, John, get out of this truck. I yanked him out. I was like, I'm doing this for you. For you to drive off the side of the mountain, like your grandkids are going to be ticked at me. But yeah, that backing up thing, you better be good at backing up, even if you don't have a trailer. Because there's definitely moments where you need to be. And I think, and you guys probably say it's true, just don't get frazzled in moments like that. Mm-hmm. Allow yourself to take a deep breath. When we do the recovery courses out at the firm where we work for the Save Expo and the military stuff, it's one of the main things that we talk about is just slow everything down and just think for a minute instead of getting flustered or frustrated. That's when you tend to break stuff, and trust your wife to be able to move a giant trailer because apparently that's possible. So there you go.
Yep.
For sure. What was the hardest thing about creating the SOFAT trail? Did it involve getting some trails reopened? Oh, did it involve getting some trails reopened or anything?
Not yet. What was the hardest part about creating the SOFAT? I don't like pavement. I feel like I used to have a sticker on one of my old rigs that said pavement allergy on it. And so, for the SOFAT in particular, I just had to become more okay and content with pavement. And, as I both do the 4x4 stuff and I ride dual sports and adventure motorcycles. And so I just kind of had to own that, like, the SOFAT is still worth doing, even if I wasn't able to hit my dirt to pavement goal initially. And so I think that was the hardest part for me, was I basically just had to get over myself a little bit and just stay committed to the goal of creating the South Florida route, And so I think the pavement that we do have, for the most part, there's a couple sections that it's like, there's nothing you can do. You're going to have to take a crappy road. It's just, you're going to drive through a city or a town. But I think most of the pavement is extremely scenic stuff, and you're going through all these beautiful farms and all of that. So I would say that was the hardest part, was just really trying to take the best of the best, make it all work. And then things are changing so fast in South Florida that in the 2 years I've been working on the SOFAT, the final product has probably changed, I mean, no exaggeration, 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
And even on that SOFAT proofing run we did, one of the main kind of cool dirt roads that I was including, there was a gate that got not put up, but a gate that got locked before Hurricane Helene and has not been unlocked. And so that's a great example to answer his question. Did it involve getting some trails reopened or anything? That's something I'm still working on. Like, I've got some great local contacts. Like, if I'm going to open a trail or a route somewhere, I want to make sure that the local overland community is willing to support it, so that when somebody says, hey, this campsite is trashed, we have a system for that on our website where you can submit trail cleanup issues. And I've got people all over the state that'll just get a team together and go clean it up. And so that's been awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
we've been super successful with that system. But also locals who can go to a town hall meeting. Like, I live up kind of north central Florida, Gainesville, Newberry, West Coast side of things. And so I can't drive down to Homestead for a meeting to communicate my support for farm roads being open, but
Right.
local folks can. So, the Fakahatchee gate that got closed, that really screwed up part of my route. So that's a great example
That's
of
a great area too. Yeah.
I know it's the worst. So, and I get it. I understand. I don't understand who was poaching or what the poaching conversation is, but those are two specific examples of things getting a gate being closed or an area being closed, or even just the thing that you guys ran into on your trip that I'm going to get figured out and looked at. I've actually got somebody going out there next week, this weekend, to figure out what's going on with that spot where you guys were like, what's going on here?
Yeah, we only ran into one incident, so that's not bad at all.
Yeah. So I'm working on all of that. And right now I have great relationships with north of Richland North. I know most of the folks up there and most of the people that are in small town government. I feel like I've made some good inroads, but South Florida, I've got nothing. So I'm still working on that piece. So great question.
Yeah. All right. Next question. When will you be doing another Patreon meetup off-roading? I'm assuming that's for you guys.
So yes, we have a couple of those planned. We have one planned this year.
Planned down at LBL.
And that will be at Land Between the Lakes this year, and we'll be in, before I say June.
I think it's June, but I was going to put it out this.
We are planning
week.
on putting out the rest of the year calendar. This winter kind of got caught up with us, and we didn't get a couple things out that we really wanted to. But very soon we will be listing a calendar of events that we will be doing, and Patreon rides are involved in that. Thank you for that question.
Perfect.
Just watched LSO disconnect, and I must say I will not be afraid to do that.
LSO disconnect? I don't know what that is. Is that a trailer thing?
LSO disconnect.
I don't know.
Derek, can you elaborate? I'm glad you're not afraid, but I don't know what you mean. That's awesome. We just had a similar situation with Carlos and Ciarte on an ice road.
Oh, probably having to turn around with the trailer. Yeah.
Does Coddiwomple have ties to West Virginia?
Depends on what kind of ties you mean. As far as trails go, I did work for the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System long ago. I was part of the initial development team that built the first 300 miles of that trail system.
Yeah. So
I did not know that, Bill. That's cool.
Yep.
Fun fact. Let's see here. Gonna show this video to my wife, the new trailer pusher.
There you go.
I like it.
We know a guy.
Yeah.
We know a guy get you a trailer. Good deal.
Yep. And we know a girl who can show her how to push it.
That's right. Whoever has flipped a trailer, raise their hand. Ooh.
That would be the one and only Mr. Derek Wilkes.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not doing that twice. I don't blame you.
Guarantee it.
Hey, Jasper, Arkansas. We'll see you guys in a few days. We're on our way up to the Jasper Jeep Jam.
On our way now.
Yep, literally en route.
We're headed.
Hey, Jody. Thanks for watching. We were Land Between the Lakes in December. Loved it.
It is an awesome place. There's a couple of different areas that we're going to try to, one of the big group camping areas we're going to try to get for everybody to be able to set up for our Patreon. And then I think we'll end up just probably base camping out of there and everybody can go out and ride at their leisure. That's kind of the plan.
Nice. Hope to see you guys at Jeep Jam in Pigeon Forge this year.
Yes, we will definitely be there in August. We will have the truck there. It will be in the Dan Cummins booth inside the LeConte Center. Don't think we'll have the trailer. The booth space just isn't big enough for it.
Okay. Jojo and Teddy, good time to tell everyone about where the proceeds go when you buy the Fat and SOFAT files. Great comment.
Yeah.
John, get it.
Well, I mean, some of them go to me, so we'll start with that. I don't know if you've ever made something and then sold it. Normally, you keep some of the money, that happens. But yeah, so with the Fat files in particular, we donate to Tunnels to Towers currently, which is an awesome veterans foundation. And so anytime that you buy one of our Fat files, $5 of that purchase goes to Tunnels to Towers, which my whole family is military. And to be able to support them is just a really cool thing. And we're still, I'd love to find an amazing overland centered or outdoor adventure centered veterans nonprofit to connect some other generosity towards. I just believe that I should be generous and people should be generous, and so I try my best to do that. And then another percentage of our total income for Sunshine State Adventure Company on the routes and apparel side, that supports the Fat Friends Fund, and so that specifically goes towards trail cleanup initiatives, as well as kind of this, I don't know, don't hold me to it because it's probably not going to happen, but I have this dream of helping small rural counties open up more campsites, and to see that as a source of income for some of these rural counties. Like Dixie County is one of the few counties in all of Florida that has their own campsite, and it's not terrible. There's a few counties in Florida that have them, and you go there and it's no one should stay here. It's this seems like a not safe place to be. So so the Fat files, obviously I take, I make a profit off of this. I'm not getting rich off of it by any stretch of the imagination. I still have a full-time job. but it's been a blessing to my wife and I for sure. And then, yeah, $5 of every fat file gets donated to Tunnels to Towers. We do every 6 months, we do a distribution to them. And then right now it's about 15% goes to the Fat Friends Fund. So great question. Thanks for asking that.
Very nice. And I know a nonprofit. I'll get with you offline.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, seriously. I know of some. I'm big on vetting them and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd love to have that conversation.
Perfect. Let's see here. Lifestyle Overland trailer disconnect on turnaround.
Gotcha.
That-
I don't
he's
know
in-
that I've
yeah.
got to see that one yet.
So it disconnected.
That's not good.
LSO.
No,
Yeah, Lifestyle Overland.
He had to
He
disconnect.
had to
He
disconnect
had
the
to.
turnaround.
We did
Yeah.
watch that one a couple
Gotcha.
weeks ago. They got down in a ravine and had to disconnect and turn the truck around.
Okay.
It,
Yeah.
it occasionally happens.
And
Yeah.
we had Stacy and Artie from Expedition Trailers on the show a few weeks ago. And Stacy, who's a little tiny person, she was out with her daughter and she disconnected her trailer, which is the same one that Lifestyle Overland has, and turned it around herself. I mean, it's doable for a lot of the Overland trailers, I'd say. I mean,
It is.
Deb's a little gal too. How tall are you? Like,
That too.
yeah. I mean, if little gals can do it, anybody can do it.
Yep.
Let's see here. Yes, we were at Land Between the Lakes in December. Loved it there. I think I already hit that one. Karen wants to know how retirement is treating you guys.
So retirement, not necessarily retirement.
Yeah.
We are still both working, but we're no longer doing the jobs that we were doing. So, Karen, to answer your question, it is absolutely incredible. We stumbled on jobs that were picture perfect of what we hoped that it would be doing. Could be doing. If all of you don't know, I'm no longer full-time flying as a flight paramedic. Deb has pretty much hung her headset up full-time as a 911 dispatcher, and we love this incredible trailer right here behind us so much that we both went to work for Atlas Outdoors. So,
Yep.
Very cool. Thanks for the question.
And thanks for all that you guys did for as long as you did it, by the way. Like you guys helped a ton of people for a really long time. And so this shift in career, I think is a good thing for you guys. But just wanted to say thanks for all the people you helped for a very long time.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that.
All right, we got J3 in the house. J3 is a local business up in Jasper, Arkansas, and they are doing a Jeep giveaway, fully Overland ready, outfitted Jeep giveaway. If you have not entered, it's only $20 donation per ticket. Go to jasperjeepjam.com and enter because they are drawing that like this next weekend,
Sunday.
less than a week.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Get in
Yeah.
there,
Mhm.
get your Jeep, drive it home. I also worked for the Hatfield McCoy Trails with their summer program. I live 1 mile from Rock House Trail next to Man High School, home of the Hillbillies.
Yep, the Man High Hillbillies.
Need more people in this world like this gentleman. Yes, we do. We need more people in this world like John for sure.
Yeah, good to see you, Kevin. Hope things are well in Michigan. And this guy right here, Kevin Gerard, if you're interested in a Hemi, an AMW conversion, this is the guy to call and ask for. He is number one in my book and has helped us every step of the way. We couldn't be happier with our AMW swap or with the help that we got from Kevin. Thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely.
Might need to put one in the Xterra, Might need to
Oh,
Hemi swap.
I don't know if that Sarah can handle that.
Yeah.
It might flip on its lid. I don't know, man.
Jody says, never underestimate a little gal. That's right, girl.
Yeah.
You know it.
I was raised by a little gal, and I can tell you that's true.
They get spicy.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, it sure is, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
We have found our pre-retirement. We're not to retirement yet, but we've definitely found a really cool pre-retirement job.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I am in our JK. Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. All right.
So I wanted to ask you guys, because you guys were down in the Keys. Obviously, the Keys is a paved part of the SOFAT, but tell us a little bit about your time in the Keys. Like I saw you guys went to the sticker wall. Did you guys go to any do you guys go to any good restaurants? Or because that's one of the cool things about I think about all of my routes is it's not just the route, but like I try to put cool points of interest and stuff on there. So how was your time to the Keys?
So yeah, the trip down to the Keys was incredible. The 7 Mile Bridge is one of the highlights.
Oh yeah,
the water is it's not like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
we did hit a couple of different places to eat. Joe told us that there was no way we were going to get to go see the buoy, and we drove right past that thing.
Sure did.
I have never seen it. I've lived down there twice, and usually it's blocks between vehicles, bicycles, pedestrians, and I'm not even kidding you. They couldn't even get out fast enough to almost film us going by it. It was so easy to drive through there.
It's a SOFAT miracle.
I mean, and there was a cruise ship in. So, I mean,
that's crazy. Yeah, normally you've got to park blocks and blocks and blocks and start walking, buddy. Yeah.
So we drove out there.
Drove right by it. We parked and took a stroll through the historic Key West.
Mm-hmm.
Those houses are incredible.
Yeah, and the vibe down there is just so cool.
Oh, yeah.
So friendly. It's pet friendly. Aspen got to go in and eat with us, and
we ate at Two Friends. We had a little.
That's a good spot.
And Two Friends, and then we walked the historical harbor along the dock and hit the sticker wall, and then we walked down 1 block off of Duval to where all the historical homes are. So
and there's trees.
The ficus trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen them before.
And we took them.
Were really cool.
We took them through Big Pine, so we went out there towards No Name Pub, which was very busy. So we didn't get to eat there, but they did.
That place is always swamped.
Yeah. Got to see all the money.
I think the word is out.
They got to see the key deer, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So they got to see alligators, iguanas, and key deer.
Yeah. I think that key deer was going to attack me, though. I'm pretty sure that's what was happening.
What was running?
Yeah. I got out of the truck and it was running right at me. I was like, "Whoa!"
So I think the only bird that we didn't get to see that Deb wanted to see the whole time we were down there was a flamingo. So. Apparently they're pretty rare down there, but.
Yeah,
we didn't get to see that.
I know where there's a ton of plastic ones in people's room.
Yeah,
herds of them.
I'll tell you where you can find some gnomes too. Yeah,
right.
I'm just saying.
But yeah,
that's awesome.
The SOFAT is different. But it is in its truest sense an adventure route. It's not an off-road route,
right?
No.
But you get to adventure and experience all of rural southern Florida and all of the old flair. I had a guy tell me one time when we were in Utah, he said, Bill, he said, I've been through this state so many times, but until today, sitting here looking over the Green River, I've never gotten to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the route that you put together, John, not just for the FAT, but for the SOFAT too, you now get to experience what Florida's really like.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys getting to run it and making the video. And Joe and Misty, I appreciate you guys going with them and adding some extra, put some sprinkles on top, adding in some.
We definitely had some awesome native guides.
You sure did.
We definitely truly enjoyed it. I have to echo what Bill said about everything. And we truly enjoyed doing it with them. And I know everybody that follows will enjoy it as well. And they're always welcome to reach out, I'm sure, to them and to us because there were so many more things we wanted to show them that we just didn't have the time for.
Sure.
And, we love sharing it just like you do, because there is so much history in Florida that is overlooked and nobody knows about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still around to actually go and see.
Right. Yeah. It's not gone yet, and I think that's the gift of this whole kind of we're in this I'm worried that we're in an inflection point of in Florida of the Route 66 reality in certain areas. Does that make sense? So I
think it's two factors. One is of course the development, But secondarily, there's a huge population in Florida that isn't native to Florida.
Right.
And so, you know, anytime that happens in a system or a culture, you know, they just don't know about it, and they haven't experienced and lived through it. So it's not that they don't care about it. It's just they don't have a connection to it and
Sure.
a value in the
So
same
true.
way that a person that did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hopefully running these routes creates some of that appreciation and knowledge of the areas that they just, that's just somewhere out that way. It doesn't impact me in my neighborhood here and wherever. That's just some land over there that somebody has, but there's so much history behind that. Like even Loop Road, where you guys, when you guys went down on Loop Road, which is such a beautiful, like, there's so much history about Loop Road and so much about, just even all the little housing, the little homesteads that are still along there, and so you guys got to see some cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So it's been phenomenal. And I can speak, I think, for all of us that we applaud you putting that together and putting that time and energy and effort into it. So
we spent 6 days on the trail, and we didn't rush anything, but I still feel like that we probably could have spent, you need 8 days to do it, to be able to really, really stop and check everything out that you've put on.
Oh yeah. That's probably true. I think if you're going to really stop and allow South Florida to marinate you a little bit, this isn't a Dunkin' Sear, you've got to sit in it for a little while.
Right.
And
they got to try their first Cortadito Cuban coffee as well. So
I bet you were like seeing sounds there, Deb. That's some strong coffee there.
That was pretty gross.
She didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's okay though. None of it went to waste. I drank their share. So.
Right. Yeah.
Jeez.
Coming up in some future episodes on their channel and ours, Bill tried star fruit. He tried dragon fruit. He tried, what else did we try?
Oh
Passion fruit.
So at Roberts, we
Lychee
bought all kinds of
tamarind.
So those of you who really know me really know how against the grain that is. I've spent 54 years eating the same thing because I know what it's like.
So you're going to want to check out these episodes because we push the limits of Bill and try.
I can't wait to see that.
We brought South Florida to Bill for sure.
They did.
That's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. Huh.
Well,
and they just harvested all the sugar cane too. Yeah.
Some of the faces he made though was just like, it's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be.
What was your favorite one, Bill? What was your favorite thing you tried, or did you hate all of it?
So the star fruit, I actually liked the star fruit. That was good.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was actually star fruit or star apple, technically.
Star fruit,
maybe somebody can Google that. And
no idea. Yeah, that's
I just
funny.
know they grew up. They were growing around.
Was there anything
star fruit.
at all though? I can't remember.
No,
he tried everything.
I think the passion fruit because they said it looked like frog eggs.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I could see that.
When they opened it up and it looked like frog eggs,
He was like, "No, I'm out. I
I'm
can
out.
do that one."
Okay.
No,
no,
that's the only one though. And you even tried the tamarind
I
and
did.
Yeah.
I did. So Griffin, there is a multitude of different areas in southern West Virginia to look at, but you being from Man, you know that the majority of it is owned by corporate landowning holding companies or coal companies. So the only thing I would caution you with there is know the property owner and know that you can be on it legally. So Hatfield McCoy does a great thing with their trail system because it is all legal. It's vetted. Some of the other places may not be so legal. So other than that, you've got an incredible backyard in the mountains and a lot of different stuff. The Kentucky Adventure Trail runs through part of southern West Virginia, southwestern Virginia, and eastern Kentucky. That's one that's not too far from you at all, over there in Bend Creek.
And there's some great stuff on that side of the cat. I mean, I wasn't really sure what to expect about that side when we ran it, but man, there's some awesome stuff over here. So
Yeah, for sure.
We did the cat with them when we first met them.
Yeah.
That was
That
the
was the
first
first
time.
trip.
First
Yeah.
time we met.
Oh,
And it
really?
rained-
That's awesome.
It rained every day.
It rained every day.
Oh,
I mean,
dude,
no.
yeah. And I'll tell you
We
what.
We did the SOFAT with 0 rain.
Till last night.
Well, that
Yeah,
was
you
going
hit
on
just the
time.
right window, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you hit just the right window because it can get. I mean, it can get full blown apocalyptical tropical down there if you're not,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
careful.
We got
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Kentucky mud and the Florida mud, I feel like are distant cousins because that stuff will just swallow you alive, man. I mean, there's
Yep.
some gnarly stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna introduce them to some Arkansas mud next week.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, we got Scott says, "Hi guys, I'm so new to this that I'm still gathering gear. Awesome. I appreciate the videos. It's giving me different ideas of where to go. Thank you."
Right.
Thank you, Scott. Just keep in mind the best gear you got is what you have now.
Mhm.
Go out with it and build from there. It's
Yes.
not what you need, or it's not what you want. It's what you need.
Mhm.
Then
Yep,
when you get what you
100%.
need, you can expand to what you want.
Mhm.
Yep,
100%.
100%.
Flamingos are in the butterfly house. That's true. We did not make it into
We
the
did
butterfly
not make
garden.
it to the butterflies.
That's so pretty.
They probably wouldn't want Aspen to eat the butterflies.
John, you need to put the conch train on as something to do in Key West. It's a good way to see Key West without spending a fortune.
Well, we're
Good
gonna
idea.
feature that in some of our videos down there. So
Yeah, there's some.
we're definitely gonna mention that.
Yeah. Should update SOFAT to run down Miami Beach. No, way near. Mm-mm. No, thank
Nope.
you.
Nope, no Grand Theft Auto on SOFAT, please.
No.
Good.
Yeah, you're gonna.
It is going to be awesome to see Bill's
There-
reaction.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be great for me to watch them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's right. True.
Yeah, you definitely
The
want.
one
Yeah.
we got was definitely right. It was
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, very, very
Yeah,
It's-
we picked the
it-
right one.
It's similar to like a persimmon. You ever had an unripe persimmon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had persimmon trees in our yard in
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
That'll light you up, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the South Carolina clay is something to be had too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's like peanut butter.
I feel like mud in general and clay and stuff is just, sugar sand's
Yeah.
still another good time.
Yeah, we got to play a little bit of that
Yeah.
while we were out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was
Good.
a couple deep spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, very soft. Yeah, and so bright. It's just
Yeah.
Hmm
the sun just reflects off that, and it's almost
It's
like
crazy.
a snow blindness.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some spots like that for sure. Even the Ocala National Forest, there's some pretty gnarly trails that have that sugar stand that.
Yeah.
Bill and Deb, I think did you guys do the power line trail on the fat with all the sugar sand and the whoop-de-doos and all that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That, man, if the sun's hitting that right at the right time of day, you're like, driving like this the whole way down,
Yeah.
it can get, the reflectiveness of that sand is intense.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you being on the show tonight, John, Bill, and Deb. Appreciate that very much. And obviously you, Joe.
Joe's like, I didn't have a choice. Just here so I don't get fined.
I just happened to be in the area.
I kind of made him come on. No.
Oh,
I really appreciate you guys talking about this because we love the state of Florida. We're born and raised here. We've traveled all over the United States and to other countries, and Florida will always be home. And there are some cool things here. No, there's not huge mountains and cliffs and crazy things like that, but we've got manatees. We've got beautiful natural springs. We've got all kinds of crazy wildlife. I hear a lot of people refer to Florida as like the little Australia because we have all kinds of things that will eat you and kill you here too.
And we keep getting more of them.
And we keep getting more, not by choice. But there's
I'm
some
like-
really beautiful beaches. There's some touristy things to do, and then there's some really natural kind of old Florida places that are still there. You just have to know where to look. And I just love this state, and I'm really, really glad that you took the time to put all that together.
Well, thanks so much. And I appreciate, all y'all's support with all of this, I've said this, I think I've told you guys this a couple times, like you all were like some of the first well-known and trusted like internet people before I became an internet person accidentally, like that. Like, it's so funny when I go back and watch the first video that we put out about the fat, I'm like, yeah, I just want to put out this route. I hope people enjoy it. I'm not going to do the YouTube thing. I don't want to be a YouTuber. And people all the time now, like at the Save Expo, they're like, oh, it's the YouTuber that's not a YouTuber, you know. But I'm like, thanks,
all
guys.
YouTubers that aren't YouTubers in some way.
I know. It's just a weird thing. Like I'll meet people in Publix and they'll be like, whoa, you're the, you know, it's just a weird thing. So, but anyways, I really appreciate you guys, because you all were some of the first people that came down and made content about the fat that got people outside of Florida excited about coming and checking it out. We actually have some folks that are coming down from Utah to run the fat.
Nice.
In a couple months, which is insane to me, you know. So I just think that's a really cool thing. So I'm just super grateful for you all and grateful for the opportunity to be your friend and to talk about this awesome trip that you guys had tonight. And I'll make this really quick. There was a guy that kind of took the bee's nest. I think that's why somebody was asking about what I do with the money for the with the fat files. And so I kind of joked with, it's a long story, but basically I said I was going to donate $250 as a result of this guy kind of being a tool to Tunnels to Towers. And I'm not going to donate it to Tunnels to Towers. I'm going to donate it to Joe's hiking across Florida thing. And so excited to continue to support you, Joe, and just continue to support what you're raising money for. I think it's super important, and I just think what you're doing is exceptional. And so I'm happy to send that your way. So I'll do that for you guys tonight. But thanks so much for the time, and thanks for all you guys do.
Well, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, and that just means I have a lot more walking to do.
Yeah, and I want to, thanks to everybody that hung out with us tonight. That's really cool that this many people wanted to hear what we had to say tonight. So
absolutely.
Thank you guys too.
We really appreciate it. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.